I hope that everybody had a great Passover, Easter, whatever it was. And we are back with our third lesson of the Young Group, and we're going right back into our next step of spiritual advancement. I'm happy to be back with all of you. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic in the wisdom of Kabbalah, which are the three means that we have in order to advance on the spiritual path. These are the Rav, the group, and the books. Now, these means every Kabbalist basically had, except for one, and that was Adam HaRishon. He was the one who awakened and didn't have a group, and he attained spirituality. After Adam HaRishon, we learned that there were 20 generations until Abraham. And essentially, Kabbalists throughout history always had these means. They had books. Adam wrote the first book called The Angel Raziel, The Secret Angel. Abraham wrote a book called The Secrets of Creation, or The Creation, Sefer Yetzirah. How do you translate it? But in short, there were always these books, the Rav, and after Abraham, it stopped being passed from teacher to student, and from then on, it was passed basically through a group. Abraham was the one that started this first group, and Kabbalists, it may seem just happenstance that we happen to advance in this way with these means, but actually these are fundamental needs based on the laws of nature. Now, today we are going to be reading from some texts that talk about this, both from Rabash and from an interesting article where Bala Sulam describes this relationship that a student needs to have to their teacher. We're going to start out with the article from Rabash, which is actually a letter. And he says this: "This is a group of people who have gathered in a certain place under a certain leader to be together with superhuman courage. They face up to all those who rise against them. Indeed, they are brave men with a strong spirit, and they are determined not to retreat 1 inch." Again, this is a group of people who have gathered in a certain place under a certain leader to be together. With superhuman courage, they face up to all those who rise against them. Indeed, they are brave men with a strong spirit, and they are determined not to retreat 1 inch. Are we ready for the breakout rooms?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's get warmed up. Let's talk about this question. What is this state that we will attain as a group? Describe it together. What is this state that we will attain in a group? How will this state come about in our group? What is this state that Rabash is talking about that we will attain as a group? Again, here's the letter. This is a group of people who have gathered in a certain place under a certain leader to be together. With superhuman courage, they face up to all those who rise against them. Indeed, they are brave men with a strong spirit, and they are determined not to retreat 1 inch. So go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me good? Okay. The state I think we will achieve is connection. Connection with one another, and then hopefully connection with the Creator. I guess that makes you next, Adam.
Oh, thanks. I love alphabetical order. Thanks for filling that. That right there is a sign of connection. You just fulfilled a friend's desire without maybe even knowing it. And that's what happens when we're together in a group. And even when we're watching Rav's lesson, we can still do the same thing by giving intention to the friends, trying to send love and see them all as great, while at the same time seeing the speaker and the lesson is great. the way I see my friend Brian.
Thanks. Yeah, and seeing the friends is great. You get this courage to not retreat. So there'll be times that when we're in society that we'll feel things that the Creator gives us, but they're things that we can use to scrutinize ourselves. But with the friends, we can find the courage to face those things. We can find the courage to scrutinize ourselves honestly.
Yeah, Brian. When you said courage, it made me think of the reading. I think the reading alluded towards that word courage, togetherness, confidence. When people gather together for one common goal, it gives you a certain amount of confidence and connectedness because you're all striving for the same thing. You want to go again, Willie?
Yes, along with that confidence, then I guess it would really give us strength that we would not have as an individual, like ropes group tied together, unable to break. Okay, Adam.
I love that example. Ropes tied together, unable to break. And the state that we're going to attain as the group will be one, a feeling of connectedness that's so strong that where I end and you begin is undetermined. We won't be able to feel that. We'll just feel one heart.
That was a beautiful analogy that tied together, not knowing one begins and one ends, and just feeling as one. And when we find connection, that will be the state we're in. And together, those various strands become stronger and stronger. A single strand will break, but you tie all those strands together, and it's amazing the strength that it can have, and what it can achieve, and hopefully it can achieve pulling us closer to the Creator.
Yeah, when I heard you say strength, Brian, I was thinking, I was also thinking something on the other end of that is vulnerability. Because in a group like we're describing here, or like the reading was describing and we're talking about is, I got a feeling that it'll allow individuals to be vulnerable in the group and open, because they know that that everyone else has their back. Regardless of whatever weaknesses they think they have, everyone's got them covered. It's like this, like the mutual guarantee we talk about in Kabbalah. Willie?
And with that vulnerability, that would cause us and allow us to be real with ourselves, real with each other, and in turn cause us to be real with the Creator. So I think what you just said, David, is a very important concept of vulnerability. And if we open up our hearts and trust one another, we can accomplish that. Adam?
Opening our hearts and trusting one another, definitely. It looks like they're coming back now. Thank you, Willie.
Okay, so we're back. Okay, friends, so I want to ask you, why do you think that we need a teacher in order to attain spirituality? Why do you think that we need a teacher in order to attain spirituality? Go ahead, anybody.
To keep us on the right track, keep us from detouring, going to a dead end, or going in a direction that won't even matter.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I guess it's the same thing. We need a guide. We're going through unfamiliar terrain, and we need someone who's been there ahead of us to show us the way.
Cover, shelter, if it rains.
Perfect. Right. So here we have a couple of problems as far as attaining the spiritual world. The first thing is that I have an invisible creator, and I need to become similar to him. And he doesn't give me a viable example that I can use in order to become like him. And therefore, I need somebody who can guide me towards the steps that are required in order to reach it. And it's similar to, it's sort of like if I wanted to learn judo, let's say, it maybe took decades or centuries in order to come to these right moves, whereby it seems illogic to the natural way that I would fight, but with these moves, I can, kick someone's butt. Here, also the inner moves that I need to make, I will never come to these in a natural way. And therefore, the teacher here is not like some great Rebbe that we, some guru that we exalt. In fact, if you know Rav Lightman, you know that he pushes students away. He doesn't let anybody get close to him. He's very careful about not letting somebody make him into some great Rav or shine his shoes or anything along these lines. The teacher, the Rav, is basically a guide. And who is this guide for B'nai Baruch? This is, of course, is Rav Lightman. This is my teacher. And the way I look at all of you is studying with me similar to how Rav started with his teacher, Rabash. So when Rav came to Rabash, he was a very successful owner of a business. He had a penthouse apartment, very rich guy. And he lived in Israel at the time. And when he had been on a search for a long time for the wisdom of Kabbalah, for a true teacher. When he found Rabash, a little while after, he pretty much gave his, $1 million business, whatever it was, making a lot of money. He pretty much gave it away and went to live near the Rabash and study with him, and basically gave his whole life in order to become his teacher, to become his student. When he got there, though, he didn't get to study with Rabash straight away. They gave my teacher, Rav Lightman, a teacher to teach him basically the fundamentals, to teach him how to be in the group and this type of thing. So this is basically what we're doing here, but we're all studying under, first of all, Bala Sulam, Rabash, and then our teacher, Rav Lightman. Now, who is this upper one that this quote talks about? Who is this, the great one? We're actually talking about the creator. And the Rav is just the one that aims us at the creator. Let's see what Bala Sulam says about this. Now we can easily understand the merit of one who has been rewarded with cleaving unto him, the creator, once more. It means that he has been rewarded with equivalence of form with the creator by inverting the will to receive, imprinted in him through the power of Torah and mitzvot. This was the very thing that separated him from his essence and turned it into a will to bestow. And all of one's actions are only to bestow and benefit others, as he has equalized his form with the Maker. It follows that one is just like the organ that was once cut off from the body and has been reunited with the body. It knows the thoughts of the rest of the body once again, just as it did prior to the separation from the body. The soul is like that too. After it has acquired equivalence with him, it knows his thoughts once more, as it knew prior to the separation from him due to the will to receive's disparity of form. Then the verse, know thou the God of thy Father lives in him, as then one is rewarded with complete knowledge, which is godly knowledge. Also one is rewarded with all the secrets of the Torah, as his thoughts are the secrets of the Torah. So this answers the question, why do we need a Rav? A Rav is somebody who is already in the spiritual world and accordingly understands all the laws of our reality, of course, but that's not really what he teaches us. What is important about the Rav is that he has been through the ladder of degrees. So there's a ladder of degrees that are in the spiritual world, but also he's been through the ladder of degrees that are prior to the Maksom, to the spiritual barrier. And these are also very definite degrees. Even though to us, it feels like we're in the dark and we don't know if we're advancing or how we're advancing. We think probably we are, but we don't know what degrees we're going through. Just like a child who's in school, you know, or even before school. Let's say in school, he already has 1, 2, 3, 4, kindergarten, 1, 2, 3, 4. Before that, he's also advancing through developmental stages that he doesn't actually feel. Then when he gets into school, they start telling him that you're in this degree, you're in that degree. When he's in the first grade, he knows that he was in kindergarten. He has some idea about the future degree. So the Rav has been through these degrees that each and every person inevitably goes through. And these, you can say, are psychological states that are exactly the same for every single person, although we experience them somewhat differently. It's sort of like Bala Sulam says that one who has been to London can talk to somebody else who has been to London. And those who have been through the path, as long as they're a bit ahead of us, they can also advise us on how to go through those degrees. Now, the Rav is one who is already above the barrier. So for sure, when he advises us, he can't make a mistake. It's impossible for the Rav to make a mistake about what to do in this world. So this is the perspective that Bala Sulam and Rabash are writing from, and this is from where our teacher Rav Lightman speaks. So let me ask you this. We all experienced a certain point where something in the wisdom of Kabbalah touched us. We probably heard Rav Lightman at some point. I think you've all heard him, at least in a clip, if not in a lesson. I'll tell you first my story. So I studied a lot of sciences. I fancied myself like a kind of intellectual. I wanted to know everything from all different subjects. At a certain point in my life, I all of a sudden felt like going to a certain section of the bookstore and the library that I'd never gone into before. It had like religious philosophy, like Jewish something, philosophers, psychology, different things that I was never interested in. Maybe mysticism, although I was very turned off by that. And I started getting these books and going very, very quickly one through the other. And then I also came to some of the Judaism and these kinds of things. And very quickly I came to the wisdom of Kabbalah. There's more to the story, but basically I came to the wisdom of Kabbalah. I knew this word growing up, and I Googled this term, Kabbalah, and I found a bunch of Kabbalah stuff, and I very quickly went through it. And one day I happened to click, one of the first things I came to from B'nai Baruch was actually a live lesson with Rav Lightman. The moment I heard that, it was also with the Hebrew and the bad translation, but the moment I heard that, I relaxed. I felt like this is my place. This is my teacher. I don't know how I know. I just know. We all felt something along those lines to a certain extent, that we felt like this is our place. So now let's go back into a circle very briefly. Let's share with one another. Who is Rav Lightman for me? I can have a very brief acquaintance with him. I can have a more in-depth acquaintance with him. But who is this teacher for me, and why is he great in my eyes? Go ahead.
I guess for me, he's the one that has opened my eyes to the things that I didn't know, was looking for answers for, didn't know quite how to find the answers, wasn't really sure I had the questions correct. But after coming across some live teaching on Kabbalah, it began to answer questions. It began to give me a better understanding of what this life is about, because I would have had to question, what is this all for? Why I'm going all this struggle just to die? Okay, fine, but if I die and go to heaven, that's fine. But all this time I'm here, I got to suffer and be miserable. It just didn't make sense to me. So Rav kind of helped clear up my understanding. It gave me an understanding, really, of what this life is about and the purpose of it. Thank you. I guess that's you, Adam.
Yeah, I started watching Rob before I even took classes at the EC. And it was really the devotion of the students there every night for 3 hours that impressed me the most. The feeling towards Rob developed over time and was definitely amplified when I went to my first Congress and met him in person, where you actually get a chance to speak one-on-one with him. Brian?
I was thinking, to me, Rob is the guide. A lot of the books, a lot of the things I don't understand, and Rob helps to guide you through them. He guides. But when you said devotion, Adam, it made me think of, that is one of the things as well, is the devotion of the students, devotion of the Rob, the tireless devotion, and just what people will give, and that's just it, what they give. They're not the roles received, but they're doing everything they can to give. And to me, that's something.
Yeah, we're going alphabetical, so you'll go next, Louis. Rob Wagner. I came to the LA physical location before I saw much of the Rav. But I had seen him playing in the background, and there was this voice, this strong voice, and it just reeked of wisdom. From that point to today, I have this emotional connection with the Rav. It's closer than my words can describe. I really can't say anything beyond that. It's just an emotional connection. He's the teacher. Go ahead, Louis.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. And for me, the Rob is somebody who, very much like what Brian said, he's like my guide. He's like the guy who knows. He's been there. He's been through the steps, and he's somebody who, when I'm confused or wondering if I'm doing the right thing or something, you just hear him talk, and you hear him talk about the process, and it just starts to kind of, not that I can say exactly how, but it just kind of starts to make sense. It just starts to seem right. And I love how he makes you see that how much we really do try to serve ourselves as opposed to others. I always think it always blows my mind. So, and Johnny, is that someone I was supposed to call somebody?
Johnny's teaching, so we'll go back to Willie.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I had to unmute myself. Okay.
You're still muted, Willie.
What about now? Can you hear me now? Great. Okay. This whole thing about being connected to the Rav, is no way I would have been able to figure out this process on my own. I mean, even reading the books, I couldn't figure it out. Matter of fact, the books didn't make any sense to me. And because I had read a lot of the books before I even attended the class and the classes, and it didn't make any sense. So, but when you listen to the Rav teach, he really breaks it down and make it plain and clear, and you begin to identify with what he's saying through his teaching. So he has really helped me to understand life as best way I can put it. It can help me to really understand what this life is about. Okay, I guess I'll be back to Adam.
And yeah, and it's like helping us understand what life is about is such a constant job that he does amazingly well. I've never seen anybody be able to do the hours and the time that he does out of all the different modalities and spiritual paths in the world. I don't think we have anybody that works as hard as the Rav does for us anywhere.
Okay, thank you, friends. You inspired me. People are still coming back. Okay. All right, so let's watch a clip and then we'll come back. You have the clip, Rabbi?
Yes, one second.
I don't know in this world a person that has a desire from all the people in the world, a true desire to bring us to the other side and for us to bring the light to the world. How can you take this lack and use it? Can you use the lack of the Rav? Because there's nothing greater. You can simply see it clearly. It's a role. It's a role. It's not my lack. It's truly a role. You can be envious, but I'm telling you, truly, in truth, not that I'm trying to kind of make myself humble or something. It's a role. It was given to me, and I have to observe it. And therefore, there is something that truly does not belong to a usual person. But it's not me. It's not me. And, well, at one point you will discover this, but it's truly not me. Therefore, it's good that you're envious and that you think that, oh, if such a thing I would have had. But I'm telling you, it's not just that I'm trying to lower this in you. It's a good thing to be envious of me. But it was given according to my role. What am I trying to say, nevertheless, to not calm you guys down? If you were to do and have this attitude towards each other, you would each receive at least what I have. I think even more, much more. According to what I can recognize in the seeds of spiritual revelation that are in you, it's something truly immense. When I look at it, I'm amazed at the depth that you have inside of you.
So when we look at the what Rav says about how we need to see the Rav as great and what Bala Sulam says about seeing the Rav as great, we have a problem towards spirituality, which is that
women whom I know throughout the whole,
which is that we, as I said, we have an invisible creator. We can't, he conceals himself. Why? Because I have an ego towards him. And in order for me to have free choice, because I'm the will to receive, in order for me to have free choice, I have this thing in me, this ego that doesn't let me see anyone as great. Not the creator, because he's concealed, not the Rav, and not the friends, because basically I feel myself as the greatest one in the world. This is why when I listen to others speak, I'm always kind of discounting what they're saying. because if I would feel them as truly great, I would feel such shame. I wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Therefore, we have this mechanism called the group that can help me to actually see the Rav as great, because the truth is, the closer I will get to the Rav, the more I will have a challenge to see him as great. And if I can't see him as great, then I also can't receive from him. The person who advances the most in spirituality is not the one that came here and he was so deep and wise on the inside and such an intellectual or so excellent in different ways, or the one that you like, that you're attracted to and that you want to be friends with, or that he's funny or anything like that, that he can sing. There's nothing like that. Rather, greatness here and one's ability to advance pinpoints into one particular property, and that is the force of nullification, the extent to which I can use my entire brain only in order to cancel my brain and make myself extremely small. The one who can be the smallest before the teacher can receive the most. And if I will think that the teacher is great, I will, just of necessity, because we're built like this by nature, I will want to grow without thinking I want to grow. Just I get pinched in such a way that I grow and grow and grow and grow, and I become like a child is naturally in this world, where he wants to be like Papa and Mama. I become this way towards my teacher, and I can do this on condition that I will think he's great, and that there's no limit to how great that I can think he is. This is why I enjoyed listening to all of you speaking about Rav's greatness. I was truly sitting here like a baby before you, just drinking your words, because the more you advance, the harder it is. And Bala Sulam also writes about this, that the more you advance, you'll feel yourself as great. And you, just like anybody that you come close with, like in my job, for example, I work with all of these celebrities. You know, today, Kobe Bryant was there, and Diane Lane, and all these different celebrities are around me. And I, you know, if you see them on the screen, you look at them like, wow, but I'm around them. So for me, it's like, what are they? Who are they? How? They don't seem great to me. They seem just like ordinary people. And we're like this towards anybody. This is the way our ego works, that our ego, without us even doing anything, looks for a way to discount the people around me, so that at least in some way I feel myself greater, because I can't tolerate to be less than others. This is why we have to learn these psychological principles, and we have to apply them to ourselves, and then we'll discover that the Kabbalists created the perfect system, that you have the creator, invisible creator, the bestower, and you have the Rav next to the creator, who has attained some equivalence of form with the creator because he inverted his will to receive into bestowal. And then you have a group of people who have this point in the heart, that although they're like me and they also have an ego, supposedly, they have this point in the heart, which is a part of the creator, that the creator implanted in each one of them. And just like you heard your friends talking about the Rav, they do have some importance of the goal and some importance of the teacher. And they can override my natural, the thing that my ego is always doing inside of me, which is to lower the Rav down and down and down and down. Now, it's true that we all think that the teacher is great, but we think the teacher is great on our own in the same way that I can go to some professor and treat him as great because I plan on using him. I want to use his knowledge, but remain myself. So I want to remain great, and I'm just next to you until you will tell me what you know, and then I'll take it as me, and I will be as I truly am, which is greater than you. The group has a special prism through which we can actually reach this in a non-egoistic way as much as possible, and the light does the rest. So let's see what Bala Sulam says here in the speech for the completion of the Zohar. This is where Bala Sulam basically tells us how this mechanism I just spoke of works. Our sages advised us Make for yourself a Rav and buy for yourself a friend. This means that one should choose for oneself an important and renowned person to be one's Rav, from whom one will be able to come to engaging in Torah and mitzvot in order to bring contentment to one's maker. Since he is an important person, the students can bestow contentment upon him based on the sublimity of one's Rav, since bestowal becomes as reception for him. This is, in other words, I need fuel. I am a will to receive. And in order for me to perform an act of bestowal, which is above my nature, I need to have fuel from somewhere. So where is this fuel going to come from? This is a natural fuel, so one can always increase one's acts of bestowal. And once a person grows accustomed to engage in bestowal upon the Rav, one can transfer it to engaging in Torah and mitzvot, lishma, towards the Creator too, since habit becomes a second nature. And we're going to go to a clip on the Rabash, but I want to read this one more time. Our sages advised us, make for yourself a Rav and buy for yourself a friend. So these are two actions that I have to do. One is that I have to make for myself a Rav. So I need someone who is great for me. What he has actually attained, how high he is, probably Rav will never tell us exactly. But it doesn't matter. I need this system. I need a system, a three-step system. Me, the group, and the Rav. Make for yourself a Rav and buy for yourself a friend. That is part 2 of the system. This means that one should choose for oneself an important and renowned person to be one's Rav, meaning I need to find the greatest Rav that I possibly can, from whom one will be able to come to engaging in Torah and mitzvot in order to bring contentment to one's maker. Since he is an important person, the student can bestow contentment upon him based on the sublimity of one's Rav, since bestowal becomes as reception for him. This is a natural fuel, so one can always increase one's acts of bestowal, because even though they're not yet acts of bestowal, and even though I'm only carrying out these mitzvot, which are the advices Rabash gives, even though I'm only performing them egoistically, I draw the light that reforms through this. This is a natural fuel, so one can always increase one's acts of bestowal. And once a person grows accustomed to engage in bestowal upon the Rav, one can transfer it to engaging in Torah and mitzvot, lishma, towards the Creator too, since habit becomes a second nature. And let's go to the clip on Rabash.
It's changing, definitely. And Bala Sulam and then Rabash, what they did and operated is all being realized today in a very great frequency pace. And see how many hundreds of thousands of people all over the world know them. I would say several millions already know who they are, and in some manner are connected to the study through the TV if it's in Israel, and through all the different other means like the internet and our centers all over the world and all the languages. What they did throughout those 20 years, I think we managed to present to the world in all the forms of media, and we have done by that a very broad foundation in America and Europe, in Russia and South America, even in Africa and Australia, somewhat in China, Japan, Asia, as we can now point to just about every country, even to hostile countries to Israel, where there are people who study and know and somewhat aspire and hope for more and more of the sources of Rabash and Bala Sulam. and specifically Rabash, first of all, because a person who enters into the wisdom of Kabbalah enters with the question of why am I living? Well, that's basically the question that draws him to the wisdom of Kabbalah, that he doesn't know the key to his life. And then he stumbles upon the articles that Rabash wrote. That's basically the life works of Rabash. And from that, each and every person starts to see his individualistic system of his soul. Because actually what Rabash did is he opened a person's soul as 10 sfirot, as the original 10 sfirot, and started to explain in words, in a language, in the daily life language, yes. And how we can get to know our soul that's inside each of us. But see how it's behaving, take it out of its concealment, start getting to know how it's operating in you, in what ways, right, left, ascents, descents, ahead, backwards, how much this light operates on the soul as far as the Creator is concerned, how this soul can be connected with your environment, in what manner you can benefit its development, meaning he truly gives you the anatomy and physiology of the soul. Anatomy means its structure, its inner structure as a system, and physiology means how it's managed, how it's functioning by external and internal forces.
So the work in the group is actually, it's very simple, the truth. I mean, it comes down to love your friend as yourself. But how we come from a completely opposite nature that isn't this at all, we learn from Rabash. He details it out. I can also break the love your friend as yourself down into 3 basic actions that we do in order to realize that. These we started calling them the 3 H's. It's hitbalut, hitkalilut, and hitpatlut. This is annulment, integration, and impression. These are really the 3 things that we have to do in the group. And if I can be in these things and wish for the light to work on these actions that I'm doing towards the friends, I advance very quickly. So the first one is annulment. And does anybody know what annulment is? In like 3 words? Go ahead, jump.
Lowering of yourself.
What is it?
Lowering of yourself before others.
All right, good.
Canceling your own desires, your own needs.
Which desires? Which desires do I cancel?
The desires to feel that you're more important than others.
All right. Anyone else?
Maybe the desire to always be right about everything.
Okay. Anyone else?
Canceling the ego.
What is the ego?
The will to receive rather than the will to bestow.
Okay, good. So here's where we're going to clarify all of the details of our work. So all of my desires actually are neutral, so I don't have to cancel any of them. Even the ones that for now seem like they're against the spiritual work. All that I need to cancel is the intention. I don't actually have to cancel all of my desires. I will actually have to use, meaning nullification isn't that I sit there quietly. Rather, I have to participate. And on what will I participate? I will participate with my will to receive, with my desire. And the only thing that I need to change is the reason that I'm using it. So the annulment really is the annulment of the direction towards myself. That I check before I do anything in the group. I check, what is my intention? In other words, there needs to be a reason first before I actually make an action. How do I do this in practice? That is called hitkalilut. So how I do what I just said in practice, the annulment, without knowing how to do it, I simply integrate. I need to integrate with the friends. Why do I need to integrate with the friends? Because I need to do it for their benefit. Anything that I'm going to do, I need to do for their benefit. How will I know what is for their benefit? How do I know what they want? Anyone? How will I know what the friends want, and to which of their desires should I pay attention?
I'm thinking that we know what the friends want because we are all here for the same purpose, to have a adhesion, a connection. And by us being in this group together with the same purpose, I would think that's what we all would want. It's the same thing.
Very good.
Their desire to advance spiritually. That's what the desire you should pay attention to and want for them.
That's very good. But how will these faces, I can't smell them, I can't see, how really stinky they probably are. How will I integrate with them more specifically, that they won't be just kind of behind the screens, kind of like as this general one screen of several people? How can I really integrate with them? I know generally that they want to come for connection. The truth is we all came in order to really attain spirituality. But how will I integrate with them? This is what we do in the workshops. Let's say I integrate with the specifics, because if it's very general, then it's almost kind of like, the creator. It's like, generally, I want to be part of, when I listen to the words of the friends, when I hear them speak, then first of all, I can check whether I am really able to listen to them. At which points do my ears shut? They fill up and they shut, and I can't listen to them anymore. At which point do what they're saying start sounding a little goofy to me and not quite right? How much am I able to not be thinking about what I'm saying, but integrate with them truly as if the creator was standing behind them? Because remember, the creator's hiding. He doesn't want to come out. He doesn't want to play with me yet, because I have to start on the first floor of the building. The king is waiting on the second floor, and the first floor of the building is the friends. So let's say that I want to learn directly from the creator. The creator would be the best teacher. He'll teach me bestowal, or from the Rav, let's say. But how will I do this? First of all, I need to show an example, a willingness with the friends. Let's see if somebody who's right next to me, as if the creator was there, would I be able to integrate with them and really listen to them as though it was the creator, that it doesn't matter what they're saying, but it's that I want to integrate with something outside of me, with a desire outside of me. So that's integration. Hitkalilut. I mean, there's more to it, but this is basically. And then the last one is hitpalut. And this is impression. And this means that I need to relate to the friends as if they are my soul, and that it looks to me maybe that my soul is asleep, that my friends aren't that awakened, and I need to wake them up. Or perhaps they seem very, very awakened, and they're just all on fire, and I'm the only one that's not on fire. In this case, I need to drink from them like a calf to its mother. I need to absorb, because why? Because the goal is not important to me right now, not important enough, because if it's important to me, I will already attain it, because importance means a kli. The only thing, I'm swimming in the spiritual ocean of abundance right now. The only thing is I don't lack a fully formed kli. I don't have sufficient desire for the Creator to give me such a kli. And therefore, there's no limit to how high we can raise the importance of the goal. And we learned from Bala Sulam here, what do we actually need to raise the importance of? We need to raise the importance of the Rav, so that the Rav, the teacher, will be, I will feel like I'm truly next to the Ari or next to Moses, that I have the greatest teacher in the world. And I can only get this through the friends. Thus we have the article now, The Purpose of Society 2. First of all, are there any questions right now? If you have a
Gianni,
question.
could you just repeat those 3 items? You said the first one is annulment, the second one?
Integration and impression.
Thank you.
Hit palut. All right, anyone else? Okay. So let's read a little bit from The Purpose of Society 2. Since man is created with a kli called self-love, where one does not see that an act will yield self-benefit, he has no motivation to make even the slightest motion. And Kabbalists, by the way, I'm calling you all Kabbalists according to your direction. Kabbalists are the laziest people in the world. Congratulations, you're the laziest. Why? Because a Kabbalist is one who already lived many, many, many lifetimes and was not able to get fully amused with anything in this world, because he already has a feeling that I already know how that's going to work out. I know how that's going to work. He already sees to the end of everything that it's not going to benefit, or it's going to benefit me, but not enough. And therefore, he's truly, truly calculating in anything that he invests into. A regular person can kind of like get on board with a lot of different things. A Kabbalist in advance, he's like, oh, wait, should I move? Therefore, he has no motivation to make even the slightest motion. That's true for everybody, but especially those with the point in the heart. And without annulling self-love, it is impossible to achieve divikut with the Creator, meaning equivalence of form. Meaning I'm basically like a machine that doesn't, my will to receive is a machine. It's built like this from nature. I can't have a program different than this program that it's built with from nature, which is this will to receive, that it's just like a car, even though we can get confused with our psychology, but it's just like a car, that without a motivation somewhere, I have to see the benefit, or a very probable benefit, because the truth is we never receive anything. We just chase pleasures and don't actually receive it because of the restriction, the simsum. But so we go after virtual benefit. We chase virtual benefit, meaning I think this time I will truly receive. And I have to see what I'm going to receive. And here, what we're going to receive is completely concealed. We just have a feeling with our point in the heart. We're kind of like magnets that are clinging onto the wisdom of Kabbalah. But the will to receive can't see benefit in that. It can't see what it's going to receive. And since it is against our nature to do mitzvot, to do the advice of the Rav, to really carry it out, we need a society that will form a great force so that we can work together on annulling the will to receive, called evil, as it hinders the achievement of the goal for which man was created. For this reason, the society must consist of individuals who unanimously agree that they must achieve it. Then all the individuals become one great force that can fight against itself, since everyone is integrated in everyone else. Thus, each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. To be integrated in one another, each person should annul himself before others. This is done by each friend seeing the friend's merits and not their faults. But one who thinks that he's a little higher than his friends can no longer unite with them. So this is the question. What is the connection between the source, Rav? What is the connection between Rav as the source of our spiritual attainment, whose advice we implement, and our work in the group in annulment, integration, and impression? So what is the connection between Rav as the source of the spiritual attainment, whose advice we implement, and our work in the group in annulment, integration, and impression? Let's go into the breakout rooms.
I have to admit that all of this is kind of above me. I'm not sure how to even answer that question. It seems like a lot. Seems to right now go over my head, but I believe that by faith that it's going to eventually all come together and flow together and make sense to me if I stick with it. But right now, I need help. So I need help from my friends.
And that's exactly how annulment works. Is I see the greatness in the friends, and they're able to help me when I can't even finish a sentence. I'll just stop in the middle of it, and the next one will go, and we become integrated.
Yeah, because, as Willie was saying, it's above me. I don't have the answer, but maybe each of us have a small piece of it. We listen closely to the friend, and each one gives their piece, and we put all those pieces together. Maybe that's where we'll find the answer. Only together, putting all the pieces together.
Yeah. And remembering that I'm together with the friends, and I look at the rabbi, and I just see his level of exaltedness. And if I start to feel a little bit uppity, which believe me happens, it's my nature. I just say, you know what? I mean, look at this guy who gives, he's giving 4-hour lessons, nonstop, and all the way through Passover season. I'm thinking, what am I? It's an opportunity to see the friends as higher than me, because it's really just helps keep me in my place. Like beyond exercise, like for real.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is quite a question to answer. I think listening to Rav and it's that desire to wanting to hear what Rav has to say, and in combination with that same desire of wanting to be with your other fellow group members and share that, I think finding out what that desire truly is what kind of it brings it all together,
Thinking about impression, I look at the impression that this group, this whole situation is making upon me. It gives me hope that there is more to life than what I thought, and that I do have something to look forward to, just by the impression that I'm receiving from each one of you.
And it's like Rob will be like the head guiding us, and we each do our part in integrating with one another, and then the impression comes out of that for those that can even remember what the question was.
Your friend was talking about desire. I believe Gianni was talking about desire and changing our desire. And can our desire be to listen to what Rob says and then share it with the friends? And it's interesting how some of us will hear the same thing, some of us heard different things. And then when we share what we heard from the Rob, we put those different things that we all heard together, it just increases us just a little bit more. And it gives us a stronger desire to listen again. Dave?
Yeah, and trying to, I mean, when I absorb very little of what Rob says, I mean, as much as I can, but I'm hoping the rest of it's going to come from you guys, because I've only got, I say this all the time, I sound like a broken record, but I've only got 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, you know, so I can only get so much, I can only receive so much. I'm hoping that by you guys receiving the rest of it, and if I'm feeling superior to you, I'm not going to get anything from you. I need to annul to you so that you guys can pick it up, and then I can maybe get it from you guys too, because it takes it takes a lot of people to hear one rap. It really does. Lewis?
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I just, it always is just so special to be in this setting right, that we're in right now, because I don't know of any other place where I know all these other people that have this, because it's not just a whole bunch of people wanting the same thing. It's a whole bunch of people wanting a very specific thing that frankly doesn't make sense to really anybody else, and nobody else really tries to go for that. So it just feels, it always feels like a very blessed time to be in this group with everyone.
Yes, I can relate to what you're saying, because no way I think the world can understand what we even going after. Most people to say, well, are you going to get a degree? Are you going to be promoted? How much money are you going to make at the end of this? And you tell them none of those things. What's the point? But we can see the point by being connected with one another and the impressions that it's making upon us.
Yeah, like Gianni was just telling us, or like I just heard Gianni tell us, and now I forgot what I was going to say, Brian.
We all have this desire for this thing, and it's a creator we can't see, and it's this thing we often can't put words to, and often we get to a place where we run out of words. We don't have any words, but we have a feeling. We have this feeling that's so strong, and you can't put words to it, because I think on this plane of existence, there is no words for it.
And it looks like we're coming back.
Okay, friends. So who got the answer? Again, the question was, what is the connection between Rav as the source of spiritual attainment, whose advice we implement, and our work in the group in annulment, integration, and impression? Who got the answer? Did you get an answer in your 10s? You came to one conclusion?
Yes.
Okay, and what was it?
Well, the Rav is a conduit. He is certainly above us in ability. He is a great Rav and teacher, and he is our connector.
And how is that related to the work in annulment, integration, and impression?
Well, he brings it all together. He is the demonstration of all of that to us, and then we can practice it within our groups, within our group.
Okay, so I gave you kind of a trick question in the sense that what is the connection between the two? It's that those things are Rav's advice. He gives the advice of his teacher, Rabash. And why did I give you kind of a trick question? It's because really the best questions are the ones where we're completely stumped, because the ones where I understand myself and I have an answer to, that's kind of a worthless question. I mean, we still do some inner motions and we do some work, but the best is when I come to finally a question where, and the questions prior to this special question are just to build up to this, where I come to a question where I don't know the answer, it's impossible for me to answer, and I'm nervous that it's even gonna be my turn because really I have no answer. And then I have no choice but to just melt into the friends and listen to them and connect, and we have to come up with an answer together. Then the light is really working on us. All right, so in the last few minutes here, we're going to talk about books. So what is a book? A book actually describes a state. And in spirituality, I said that we have kind of a ladder of degrees. And can we show the diagram? So we always have these 3 degrees that here I have the group. Say we're here. And how do I connect to, let's say if this is the Rav, how do we connect to the group, to the Rav? Well, we have to be like these points that connect between us. And connected, only connected, we will be able to become like what is called the ahap of the upper degree. So each degree has Galgalta, Naim, and ahap. And in order for us to connect, we need to be like the ahap. How can we connect? Well, we can't do it directly like this. This would be like me by myself trying to attain the creator. Rather, we have to connect our points in the heart, which basically are our Galgalta and Naim, meaning it's that little point in us that is willing to be like spirituality, willing to be in bestowal. And with this, we can be like the ahap of the teacher. Now, spirituality is built in such a ladder degrees that I'm not able to actually connect directly to Bala Sulam. Without Rabash, it would be impossible to understand Bala Sulam. And without Rav Lightman, it would be impossible to understand Rabash. Therefore, we only understand it through this sequence of degrees, and we can forget about understanding Kabbalists that are far before them. Before them, it's only if you're already in spirituality. But books are really not just books, they're a connection to an upper degree. They're a connection to a state. And in order to understand what's going on in the book, we have to be somewhat in a state similar to that. So we have to actually be connected, because the person that the books are actually talking about, even though they seem to be talking to an individual, for example, in Shamati, it sounds like it's talking to an individual. I have to already be as 110. There's nothing in spirituality that is less than a 10. All right, so any questions? If not, I will continue more with Rabash. Any questions thus far?
I have a question. It's been bothering me for a while. Early on in this lesson, Gianni, you said that we go through developmental stages, and Rob is like our parent in that when we're real little, we want to grow up to be like a parent, like our parent, big like our parent. Now, I can understand the men here wanting to be like Rob, even unconsciously. But the women, we don't have a mother figure. So how do we yearn to be like our teacher?
There is no women and men here. When we talk about a man, even when we read the first quote that we read, it said, what did it say? It said they are mighty men that want to attain the goal, something along these lines. So even there, it's not talking about the male sex. Rather, it is talking about that point. That is called masculine. The point is this property that wants to be in bestowal. It's the plus in nature rather than the minus in nature. And therefore, if I have this inclination, then I'm called Adam, because I want to be Domé, similar to the Creator. And therefore, if I'm a man and I have this point, then I'm called a man. If I'm a woman and I have this inclination, then I could be called a man spiritually. And therefore, really, it's not a consideration. We're always never talking about the physical bodies, the biological bodies in this world. We're talking about Adam being one with the inclination towards the Creator. Anyone else? Okay, a few more lines from Rabash. Also, it is important to remain serious during the assembly, so as not to lose the intention, as it is for this aim that they have gathered, and to walk humbly, which is a great thing. One should be accustomed to appear as though one is not serious, but in truth a fire burns in their hearts. Yet to small people during the assembly, one should be wary of following words and deeds that do not yield the goal of the gathering, that thus they should achieve divakut with the Creator. And concerning divakut, see the essay Matan Torah. But when one is not with one's friends, it is best to show nothing of the intent in one's heart and appear to be like everyone else. This is the meaning of walk humbly with the Lord your God. While there are higher interpretations of that, the simple explanation is also a great thing. Hence, it is good that there will be equality among the friends who unite, so one can be annulled before the other. And there should be careful watch in the society, disavowing frivolity, since frivolity ruins everything. But as we have said above, this should be an internal matter. But when there is someone who is not from the society, no seriousness should be shown, but to equalize with the person who has just come in. In other words, avoid speaking of serious matters, but only of things that suit the one who has just entered, who is called an uninvited guest. In short, the work is just between us, friends, and the Kabbalists set up everything before us. We have everything before us. In generations past, you had just a teacher and a student, and it was questionable how you're going to reach the goal. Here in the group, we have this pressure cooker, and so much spiritual potential exists next to me. And if in previous generations, let's say it was possible for a single individual to attain the goal, in our generation, because we have the potential to unite with others, because we were given all of these awakened points in the hearts, the Creator basically subtracts what is outside of me from my spiritual potential. It's as if outside of me instead of inside of me. And all I have to do is connect with those who are around me. We have the perfect method for how to do it. We have the books which advise us exactly how to do it. We have a system of Creator, Rav, friends. Everything is basically open for us. And we also have a very special opportunity coming up. I hope that everyone who can is coming to the convention, May 5th, I believe. it's going to be incredible, friends. So raise your hand. First of all, is anyone going? Anyone planning to go to the New Jersey convention? Oh, nice. All right, awesome, friends. Okay, so any final questions before we close and before we continue our preparation for the upcoming convention?
Are you going, Gianni?
Of course. Even when I lived in San Francisco and it cost me like $2,000 to cross the country, I never missed a Congress. I would never miss a Congress because in the Congress, you have pretty much a year's worth of advancement. There is nothing that can compare to this advancement that you get. Even a thousand years of advancement of studying like this can't compare. We have this chance to establish the connection with our Rav, with our teacher, which truly is an indelible experience that you will take with you in all of your future studies. So I really advise, and also I think there's only like 2 days left where you can get the cheap rate on the hotel. After that, it goes up. So I really advise, if anybody hasn't yet registered, please do so. And I'll see you all there, friends. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
awesome.
friends.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.